It turns out that for the low price of $2 million, Robinhood was actually able to get the Trump accounts, but more on that in a moment. Welcome to Cryptocurrents, the weekly podcast of people working in crypto, blockchain, and fintechs, talking about everything you need to know to get better at digital money. I'm your host, Vince, and today I'm joined by Carly from the Mew team.
Hello.
And our resident degen, Kale.
Hello.
And I want you to think of us like your own personal succulent clipping. Every week you're taking a small clipping, letting it sprout and grow to a beautiful garden. So we'll get to the Robinhood stuff in a moment, but I want to start off with something that made me laugh really hard. And that is the Magic Eden wallet deprecating. And so the Magic Eden wallet, I remember, and you both were here at Mew at the time that it went viral. They announced that they were going to be the official wallet for Trump coin. And here's a wait list, and it was in all of the press and all of the tweets and all of the buzz. And now it's just going bye-bye. And if you were using it, you got to get everything off because it's like you'll lose it. Kale, talk to me about this.
Dude, I totally forgot that they wanted to be the Trump coin wallet for a
They
little while.
claimed they were going to be.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that honestly, like, that drills into my point perfectly because... So basically, let me just start off by saying this process started in like late February. They're like, hey guys, we're deprecating the wallet in like a month or so. It was always April 1st.
Choice of date.
I know, that's another thing too. I was like, because when I first read the message, I didn't know if it was April Fool's or not. But anyway, it's a real thing. They started announcing it to their users like late February. They're like, okay, by March 9th, EVM and Bitcoin will be deprecated. By April 1st, the wallet will be completely deprecated. And I guess they're pivoting not only into Solana, but specifically into gambling and sports betting on Solana. And yeah, the point I was going to make, like what you just reminded me of, was that like this kind of makes sense as a business because like, yeah, I feel like they were spread way too thin. You know, like in 2023, they were leaning into ordinals and runes really heavily. I don't know if you remember, which are Bitcoin NFTs.
I had conversations with their BD team about it.
Yeah. They were going hard on Bitcoin NFTs in like 2023. And then, like, that's the image of them that I have in my head. I'm like, oh, that's the ordinals wallet. But then, and then they tried to do the Trump thing in like 2024. So yeah, like from my point of view, they like seemed spread out way too thin. So they needed to like find a niche and focus on it. It is kind of ironic that it's like gambling on Solana, but I guess it is what it is.
Got to make money somehow.
Yeah.
Carly, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, I definitely saw the business model turn, and that seems logical. It would be, it's either that or the whole thing just dies. So that part I got. That it's just another instance, I think, of something that starts off as one thing and it's so market sensitive. And what is that? 2 years ago? 3 years ago. 3 years ago only. And it had to take an about face and totally redirect. And gambling, on the other hand, that's pretty hilarious to me. Because like, I'm like, well, the other day I just saw something saying like now people can gamble when, Trump says certain things on TV, or what turn is the skier going to take? And so anything is up for grabs. So it could totally work and be very profitable because it's gambling.
Yeah. This all just kind of, for me, really highlights that so many crypto companies in crypto are like, we have capital to spend on development resources. Let's build a wallet. What they don't realize is that a wallet is probably the most difficult part of crypto. It's hard to maintain. It's hard to grow. It's certainly hard to monetize. And so, everyone's like, we built a wallet, use our wallet. And then they're like, oh, wait, we're the GameStop wallet. We're shutting down. Oh, wait, we're the Magic Eden wallet. We're shutting down. We're the Loop Ring wallet. We're shutting down. Because it is an incredibly hard thing that on its surface appears very easy. And it also shows you that all of the bluster, all of the headlines, all of the hype on Twitter doesn't mean shit at the end of the day, right? Because I'm sure Magic Eden's wallet got more mentions on Twitter in that like 2-day period about the Trump wallet that we've gotten in 10 years. And yet we are still here.
Yeah, our customers use our stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just, going place to place. It's like the long-term actual like usage thing. But speaking of usage, this is really kind of cool, I think. So Square and Cash App are giving away Bitcoin to trying to get people to spend their Bitcoin in stores. What are your guys' takes on this? I think it's kind of cool. I think it's a fun way to show kind of a use case. It feels expensive, both as like from a business perspective, but I think it's a pretty rad thing. Carly, you got a big smile. What are your thoughts?
I was gonna say Carly looks unimpressed.
I was gonna say, I'm like, this is somebody trying to make they're just trying to make it more tangible for people, bringing it into the retail space, trying to hit, generalize it more so that people can see it and have a better application that's tangible for all consumers to see. And that's kind of how I see it. I'm not super, I don't know if I'm not impressed or it's just kind of gimmicky where it's like, cool, okay, but is it going to have legs forever? What's good? What lift?
Absolutely not.
Like, what's it going to do? It's going to give a little bit of a hype and then what? And then
part of me thinks it's a little bit of hype. And I think, and I've heard this like throughout my crypto career is like the best way to get someone interested in crypto is to give them some. Mm-hmm. And so if you're like, oh, I don't have any Bitcoin, but if I spend $1 of Bitcoin, I can get $25 in Bitcoin. That'd be cool. I guess I'll go set up a wallet and go try this out if someone's so inclined. And so that to me, I'm like, oh, that's a neat idea. It makes some headlines and it's inefficient because it's Bitcoin. It should be Ethereum, but that's just my bias showing.
Yeah. No, I think this is super dope. I love this. I'm literally so first of all, I looked at the Cash App map and there are businesses near me. There's like 15 of them that accept Bitcoin. So I'm literally going to go do this today. And
I want you to record yourself if you can. Yeah. That'd be really fun.
Talk about it next week.
Do it. Well, do a little vlog. I would love to see that.
I thought about that, but the thing is, you need to pay with your phone,
Right.
So I need to
vlog up to the point where you have to pay with your phone.
Yeah.
Or we get the great video where it's like a selfie and then you tap your phone and we just look at the ceiling.
Yeah. I'll figure something out, but I did think of that and I do want to film it because why not? It's just like fun crypto content. But the way I see it is this was the point of crypto in the first place. Bitcoin was created after the 2008 financial crisis because people decided, very smart people decided that we can't rely on banks and we can't rely on one global currency that's controlled by one government and they can print as much as they want and just ruin everybody's lives whenever they feel like it. So yeah, this is a return to the light. That's how I see it. It's because I feel like at some point Bitcoin crossed over from a currency, an actual currency, into people now perceive it as a store of value instead. So when you get Bitcoin, they're like, oh, I don't want to spend this because this is like gold. I buy it and I accumulate it because the number is going to go up. Yep. So I want to collect as much of this as I can and hold it and not spend it, which has its own benefits as far as healing our economy. But I think the more advantageous thing is to have a currency, a separate alternate currency where anybody can use to transact, whether you're in Nigeria or America or Canada or Russia or China, and that's what Bitcoin was supposed to be. So to see initiatives like this, I love it. I feel like I said, I feel like it's a return to the light, and I'm gonna go test it myself.
Yeah, excited. My only question is I don't use Cash App. Do either of you use Cash App? No. So I feel like I wonder because I feel like I've seen Cash App has had crypto for quite a while. It's not new to Cash App. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I wonder how much of this concept is penetrating the broader market, right? If we didn't put this on your desk, Carly, because you're a good litmus test because you're a little bit outside of the trenches. Kale's in the bottom of the trench. I'm looking down in the trench. You're in the lookout tower away from the trench, if this is a war analogy. You're I think there's a trench over there. But did this penetrate your zeitgeist, your awareness, or is this just kind of something where we're hey, we want to talk about this? You're oh shit, that's cool.
I don't use Cash App, so I would say that it's just like, okay, it's another gimmick that they're just
Mhm.
trying to get more people interested and make it less scary and
Yeah.
easier to digest so that people can use it. I wonder with Cash App's audience, is there, strategic purpose around, targeting Cash App and their own target audience in that and what they might see come out from it because, that's the type of app that it is, like what the results of that would be,
Mhm.
converting crypto users from there. So, yeah, it wasn't nothing that really sparked my interest. I was just like, "Yeah, okay, cool. Another thing that's moving on."
You knocked something out of my memory right there. Do either of you remember when PayPal and Venmo first started rolling out crypto stuff and they had like offers where they're like buy $5 of Ethereum and we'll match it?
No, I
No.
don't.
No, you don't. Yeah. I remember when both of them did that. This was before they were the same company. But I was like, cool, a free $5. Thanks. Boom, buy, sell, done. It was very funny. But it didn't really again like penetrate the
Yeah,
broader thing. It was like
yeah,
only if you're paying attention.
It
yeah.
didn't like
Um
capture you long term either.
And so I really want to see, Kale, is there like any sort of signage or messaging around it? Like
How
in
else they try to bring you back in? Because once you do it, okay, cool, then what? That's not gonna just spark a whole new thing for you to get or maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, for me, my like interest in money hit the first time I saw an interest payment on a bank account. I was like, ooh, that number went up. Like, okay, now I'm intrigued by this. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and
always been fun.
there's a second part of this pilot too that I'm also gonna try to participate in. So if you find vendors who use Square but they don't currently accept Bitcoin, you get free Bitcoin for like having them turn the switch on too. Yeah,
Oh,
and that maxes out at 10
okay.
companies. So it's $250 if you
Okay.
do it to 10 companies. So like you can just walk
For you
around
as an
the city.
individual?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Every user can earn up to 250 if you get businesses around your community to start accepting Bitcoin. And apparently, it's really easy. Like all they have to do, if they already have Square, it's literally just like turning it on, enabling
Eh,
it.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, so like if you can convince some merchant who already has Square to literally just turn it on and accept Bitcoin, you get rewarded for that. So I'm gonna
That's
be
a
out here,
That is I think y'all should make a list of all the fun ways that you can
dude, for real.
that would be like get free Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever promos are out there. That'd be a cool ass list to go down.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, there is free ass crypto that you can get on MyEtherWallet.com right now if
Oh,
you're looking to make a
Oh,
trade.
true that. Yeah, good plug.
But this is a no shilling podcast. But it's funny that model of like sending people out and rewarding them is really efficient, right? Like for a
Mhm.
global international
yes.
company. But God, it just reminds me of those stupid wrapping paper drives I had to do as a kid where I had to like go sell wrapping papers to my parents' friends or whatever. And I'm like, what is happening? This is weird.
It's gotten way more efficient now. Now that you just say, "I need money," they don't even make
Yeah,
it like you need anything. "We need
so
money."
much
They
better.
do some laps around the field, no correlation. Just send me
Yeah.
money.
Oh, so speaking of sending money, let's get a little serious here and let's talk about wrench attacks. So we've explained wrench attacks on the show before. That is one of the biggest challenges that crypto has, allegedly, where you can have all the greatest technology protecting your assets in the world, but if someone comes with a wrench and beats you to death with it to get your seed phrase, you're eventually going to give that up. So we've seen a number of like violent crimes that are getting more and more sophisticated to basically go to crypto's people's houses and rob or attempt to rob them of their crypto. And so there was a recent article about this that kind of put it back front and center, specifically in San Francisco. Kale, what are your thoughts on this?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I don't even know where to begin. So like this is in my eyes, this is extra crazy because of like how sophisticated it was.
Yeah.
So these guys, this crime ring that's like going on in LA and San Francisco, like I'm not sure if they're all like under one conglomerate or not, but in the article that I read, it said that like some of them they got access to DoorDash and Uber Eats account information. And through accessing the DoorDash, they were able to eventually wrench attack these crypto people. And like the line of like how that happened is like long and complicated. But yeah, it just goes to show like how important OPSEC is. Even if it's just a DoorDash password, you are vulnerable. So what this tells me is like you always have to be prepared. There are like key things in order to like, because you can't really prevent this. You can try your best to prevent it, but at the end of the day, there's no like hard stop to prevent yourself from being wrench attacked. So like all you can do is just prepare the best you can. And in order to do that, you need to like be super on top of your OPSEC, which is operational security, like change your passwords. If your things get leaked, even if it's just DoorDash, like be on top of it, change your passwords, use a password manager, things like that. And even your password manager, you need to like be selective with, because even those get compromised. So yeah, you need to have really good OPSEC. You need to like not walk around like a rich asshole, like pretend like you're poor and retarded, because like it's always the arrogant.
It's
Yeah, dude, it's
arrogant, like
always
you're
the
cool.
rich, arrogant people who get robbed, because it's like they're out there flaunting how rich they are. And then the poor people who can't even eat dinner tonight, they're like, oh, I got you. I'm going to come get your money.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, OPSEC, you got to have that good. Pretending to be broke is part of OPSEC. And then always carry a weapon, honestly, because it's like, even if you do everything right, it's like somebody can still find out and then come and try to attack you. So it's like, what can you do? All you can really do is be prepared, always be vigilant. It's hard to be vigilant without like being paranoid, in a constant state of like delusional paranoia. But yeah, I mean, crypto people, like we need to find that balance of like being vigilant, but not like being overly paranoid.
So I agree with everything you're saying. I just have like a question to kind of put to both of you and ask, is this actually a problem for crypto, or is this just like a problem with money across the board? And it makes a better headline because it's some crypto bro, getting attacked or murdered and chopped up into little pieces. I wonder how much, because like, we can pretend that real fiat in bank is safe, but there are still a number of attacks like honeypots where you're giving up to an AI Brad Pitt that you think's in a hospital, but also people get kidnapped and ransomed every day. So I wonder, part of me is like, is it just because it's crypto that it's like, here's a good headline, let's run it?
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I think that because it's crypto, and I think media tries to build a stigma around crypto, that this only helps amp their story up. Because they did mention like from, well, in my head, my question immediately afterwards, like if that was cash, because I did think that through, like if it was actual cash and they were able to rob you of your jewels and your cash. Those things are insured. You get some of it back. They can actually track it down, maybe get your jewelry back, the physical jewelry back, but there's nothing to get back, I would assume, with this situation
Yeah.
for people. It's gone. It's really gone. So
Yeah.
there's no backup to it, not even in like a small percentage of it. So in that aspect, I think that part is the part that the reality of crypto, and that
Yeah.
goes back to there's nothing else it's going to back it up. So while we think it's all safe and secure, if someone, if I were these people, I'd be like, well, where's my vengeance? How do I get where do I get, and like
Where's
where
Batman? Where is my
where
vengeance?
what do I get? Like, I'm a victim. Where's the punishment?
Yeah.
And there isn't. I mean, these people might get found, and if they can trace it back, then they might get arrested, but your money's gone.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, that part is just like, it's a reality check of what the risks are.
Yes.
But that's like when you get to that far, because the first thing I kept thinking about when I read that article was, what were these people doing? Walking around like a bunch of assholes.
Exactly.
I have this much money. Were you flaunting your shit? And then they were able to like narrow you down. I mean, I get that they hacked and broke in, but they have to. That's like a needle in a haystack to find
Yeah.
somebody with that much.
But
That
like honestly though, I don't know, because like even these types of attacks happen with people that like like family and friends too.
Yeah.
Like that happens sometimes. Like you don't need to necessarily be flaunting it. Like it is really common that the arrogant rich people get robbed.
Yep.
But also it's like if someone owns $1 billion and then they have like a second cousin who has negative 1,000. It's like
Mhm.
these stories, as unfortunate as it is to hear, like they happen sometimes. People get betrayed by like people you are
Well,
not expecting to.
and then I also think it was like an inside job. So somebody knew somebody that knew somebody that
Exactly.
told them. And yeah, that's totally because it was too big of a coincidence to be like, let me just hit up all these random people to see
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
So it's
Hmm.
the trust of, you think you know everyone in your immediate circle. And that goes back to your OPSEC thing, right? So you got to
Yeah.
just be smart about that.
Yeah. So let's pivot away, but continue on the concept of trust. So this was interesting. Recently, a South Korean crypto exchange was ordered to verify holdings from 24 hours to 5 minutes, which was pretty drastic shift.
That's
I mean,
huge.
so huge, right? And so I think it's really I think it's cool because I think at the end of the day, the more transparent, the more we can like have this kind of legislation. Obviously, it's South Korea, not the United States, but I think it sets a good precedent because obviously if this was FTX, which is still a blight upon this industry, something like this would have caught it immediately rather than letting it like spiral out of control. And so I think it's a great kind of like thing and requirement to put on these crypto exchanges. But Gail, tell me how I'm wrong.
No,
You're the
I,
Wild West boy. You're like, nah, let them do whatever they want. Some guy with a treasure in a closet.
no, 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 no. I 100% agree with you, dude. Because yeah, this would have like prevented FTX, and you kind of like knocked that loose in my head because I was just gonna could just completely like repeat what you said because yeah, like going from 24 hours to 5 minutes is huge. It exponentially increases the difficulty for like a stealth attack.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you knocked loose in my head that like what if this did exist in 2022 for FTX and then FTX didn't go down
Yeah.
and then SBF would be like a multi-billionaire right now, like still
Yeah.
influencing politicians. That would be crazy.
Be a completely alternate timeline.
But yeah, no, I'm generally a fan of this because I mean, what it means is just exchanges need to be more transparent now,
Yeah.
assuming like this becomes the industry norm or industry standard. Because yeah, like I said, the difference between 24 hours and 5 minutes is huge. Like if
Yeah.
I were to attack an exchange and then have 24 hours, like I could do like 10,000 transactions in 24 hours to wash the money,
Yeah.
but like in 5 minutes, like that makes it way harder for an
Yeah.
attacker to do that. So
Carla,
love
what
to
are
see
your
it.
thoughts on exchanges? I feel like we've had you on the show a couple of times, but I don't think we've ever talked about exchanges with you.
My thoughts on
We
exchanges.
know you're a self-custody queen, of course.
I mean, I would say that I agree. When I read this one was like, yeah, this makes sense to me. Transparency is important, making it more difficult to hack. That was the other thing I was like, why is this not standardized before? And also, but I thought about on the other side was like, well, the technical debt of having to do that. I mean, checking it every 5 minutes versus 24 hours, a
Pose-
huge window to
Yeah.
truncate it down to. So, like, what? Not that I don't want it to, I'm saying that I don't want the 5-minute check, but like just what that will result in to.
Spoken like a true product manager.
I was just gonna say, dude, you're thinking so much like a product manager because, like,
You're
yeah,
like, yeah, I
I was
get
like,
to see you like putting together the Jira board. You're like, oh
I'm
my
like
god,
thinking
it's a
about this is
lot.
like, where would the developer tell me you're freaking crazy? I don't know what this is gonna take. You know how
and it's
many,
gonna cost like 40 times more.
you know what my fees are gonna be? So then that's where my brain went. Because I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
that's a good
someone's gonna
point.
have to cover that part. But
Well,
for transparency and for higher security, I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a deal.
okay, cool. No, I like it.
That's a great point. I literally didn't even cross my mind.
You on the show, Carly.
This is a random. I don't even know if it was legit. I was just like, all I could think about was like, if I said that to my team, they'd be like, "What?"
Yep. Yep.
No, absolutely. Awesome. So let's round things out with where we started, which is Robinhood was just announced in collaboration with one other company to be the custodial holder for the new Trump accounts. So now I'll kind of read you in on both of what this is. So there was a Democrat initiative prior to President Trump that was to create a new account type for children born in the United States that the US government would put money in when they're born so that they can invest $1,000. And then you could, as a parent, contribute to it. Your company could contribute to it. And this money would grow at a tax advantaged rate for the 18 years of the child growing up, with the core concept of when it comes to money, children are billionaires in time. They just need the money to invest and grow and compound. So there was a lot of speculation about where these accounts would live. Robinhood donated $2 million to the Trump account, Trump campaign or the parade or whatever. They gave him $2 million, did a bunch of screen mock-ups, and Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, pitched Donald Trump on Robinhood getting these accounts. And it turns out it was worth it. So we will be expecting to see these roll out in the coming days. There were signups for these accounts a number of months ago. And so it's interesting to me, right? Because the sheer number of users that Robinhood might get from people being like, oh, well, I signed up for this free $1,000 for my kid. Now I have to get a Trump account or a Robinhood app and account has got to be so high if there's as much penetration of these things as I was thinking. So it feels to me like a great investment from the Robinhood perspective. But what I wonder is, what kind of buy-in do you think there actually is from the normies of the world? The I guess, let's say, 100 million parents out there with an eligible child in the United States. What do you think the buy-in is? And do you think that they will actually take control of that money? Will they actually put, funds in these for their kids? Carly, you're a mom. Tell us your thoughts about this.
I think that it gives an opportunity in the crypto space to do this and open this account, but it still doesn't. The first barrier to get is to convince someone who's not a crypto user to even open a Robinhood account and go through it, right? So like that in itself, I still see that as a barrier because I think most people are just going to open it and just keep it there. I think
Yep.
strategic people are going to maximize on this opportunity, which by the way, none of my kids meet this requirement. So food to that.
Well, I mean, technically, you could still contribute up
I
to
can still,
$6,000 a year, and you could convince your employer, which I'm trying to do, to contribute an additional $2,500 a year themselves.
but yeah, that's, I think it was smart on their behalf to go in and present it and see this as a huge intake of potential new customers and also increasing the usership of probably their existing customer base because there's just getting the average person. And then with Robinhood, you know, as a platform makes total sense. Like you got these people that are wanting to start accounts, they're new moms, dads, really excited to set their kids up for future success, and Robinhood makes it that much easier for people to do that. Especially when they come from like no financial knowledge, right? Or minimum, very
Yeah. And I
in their
wonder, is $1,000 in an account enough to get these people that are not,
oh,
investors, not whatever in the world, invested and curious and engaging in it?
100%.
I
Yeah,
think
Especially,
so.
you think
Yeah,
so?
I think so. As a
100%.
new mom, I think as a not even a new mom, just having another kid,
Yeah.
$1,000. If it was like $100, I would say no. But
Yeah.
$1,000 definitely um for that specific target that maybe, they don't have their investment knowledge isn't that strong.
Mhm.
Why not? And then the people with it, they're like, free money? Sure, why not? Let's do it. And so I think that's like that was actually I think is actually really smart on
Yeah.
both sides of that. So,
And for me, I also love the core concept of because of course there will be restrictions on what assets can be invested in, and I'm sure it's just going to be American companies or S&P 500 companies or an index fund of that. And I think it's an interesting kind of we're making the next generation be like, yes, I am investing in America, and there's something to be said in that. I don't know if it's a good thing.
Mm.
I think it's an interesting play.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it from that angle, but that's so true. This is not only gonna help kids and families financially, but it's gonna introduce some sense of loyalty to
Yeah.
the country, which is a weird dynamic.
which, yeah.
Sorry, Carly, go ahead.
No, 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 no. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I mean, I was just gonna go on a tirade that like I love this. I absolutely love this. Was there something like this before? Like, was there ever a program like this, like where kids get an account and then the government invests for them?
No, so this is kind of the first. There are a number of like tax advantaged accounts for children, whether it's a custodial account, a gift account, or a 529, which is for college savings. And all three of those are investment vehicle accounts, but never really one that the government's like, we're gonna kick you off with $1,000.
Yeah, no, this is really cool to me. And like you said, Vince, earlier, like people don't really care about crypto. This isn't necessarily crypto,
Right.
but like I think it applies to all assets. Like people don't really care about investing until you give them an investment and they can see the number like going up and down. And all of a sudden they have a stake in this and they're like, oh, wow, this number is going up. So just in that regard, I think it's a great idea, you know, just to like get people more, get their feet wet, get children's feet wet in finance earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. I think that the people that don't have that education or that interest are creating it at a young age, and at the very end of the day, their kid is just gonna be that much more better off with an account starting right when they were born, you know? So, with very little ease and some of the government assisting you in doing it, and even if you don't contribute anything else to it, you are still
Yeah.
gonna come
Yeah.
out better.
Yeah, I mean, like if we just do some public math here, like that's going to be close to 1,000 becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes about 8 by the time they get it when they're 18 or 21. So
Yeah.
And
$8,000 over
Robinhood is
time.
matching too. Did
Are
you
they
guys read
matching?
that?
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, it's probably for a limited amount of time, but apparently Robinhood is matching the $1,000 that the government is
Okay.
putting in. So
Wow.
I don't know if
And
it's just the initial investment or if it's going to happen for 10 years or what, but that
interesting.
helps.
But yeah, and I'm 18 years from now, I'm so excited to see like what kind of loyalty do these users have to like Robinhood as
That's
an
what I
app.
was gonna say too. Like this is kind of bullish for Robinhood. I feel like Robinhood is slowly but surely becoming like the 21st century JP Morgan.
Yeah.
You know, they're making a lot of powerful moves that are like gonna cement them in the upcoming century, it feels
And
like.
I think, for me, I'm a Robinhood fanboy, and like there's so much value in being a loyal customer that is just not there at any other financial institution that I've ever encountered.
Robinhood
Chase
gets
Bank
merch.
treats me like a criminal. And I'm like, there's a reason why I don't bank with you anymore.
Straight up, Chase Bank doesn't have cool water bottles and credit cards.
Yeah.
Straight up.
All right. Well, that's a good spot to end it. Get your water bottles. Let's hydrate after all this talking. Thank you, dear listener, for joining us today. We hope you feel smarter. You should. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Leave a review. Say hi. Whatever it is you want to do. And regardless of what you do, we will see you next week. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Bye.
Bye.